npm init to initialize npm. Anytime we want to start, open it in terminal. Every time we start a new session, make sure you initialize npm init, install express inside. Npm init and space minus y. Enter. Yes. So today we'll be discussing majorly synchronous and asynchronous programming in JavaScript. Not just JavaScript, but Node.js to be specific. Of course, server.js. So by the end of this session, right, we should be able to compare. Please, whatever you do, listen to this objective. It's very important. If you don't get this objective, you don't know the whole goal of this class. The whole goal is that at the end of this class, you must be able to understand or tell the difference between asynchronous and synchronous programming models. There are two different types of programming models. We have asynchronous and synchronous. One I have a before it, another one does not have a. So the first one is asynchronous, and the second one is synchronous. Synchro. So, and the second objective is at the end we should be able to explain a synchronous programming model using callback, promises, and the async and await keyword in Node.js. Then the third objective is that we should be able to describe a synchronous programming model in Node.js. The synchronous. That is, we'll come there. But as the name implies, thank God, this curiosity is already coming out. So that at the end, if you don't understand it, you hold yourself and me responsible. Then perhaps we'll fight if I have said it and you didn't listen. So the last one is explain the event loop architecture in Node.js. That's the whole objective of today's class. And then introduction to programming models. This is not the charge. It's charging. Now it's charging. So, what is synchronous programming? Now you ask that question. Now this is where the definition comes. So synchronous programming execute tasks one at a time. Like it's blocking each other. If it's just like when you are joining line on the queue. If one person have not finished from the queue, from the counter, the next person will not go. That is synchronous. A processing of data that one have to wait for the other. That is synchronous programming. So it's simply defined as synchronous programming execute tasks one at a time in sequence. Each task must complete before the next one starts. In contrast, no asynchronous, nobody they wait for anybody. I just have to jump ahead so that you quickly know where we are going. And asynchronous. So in analogy, so synchronous programming is when one task, where is the type of programming that execute task one at a time. Yes. Asynchronous. Yes. Okay. So the analogy, imagine standing in a line at a bank, like we have said. You must wait for the person in front of you to finish before it's your turn. That is synchronous programming, synchronous processor. That's synchronous process. You understand, right? Example, in our programming, we say console.log task 1, console.log task 2, console.log task 3. I believe by now you should have initialized the npm in your section 7. Quickly, I'm going to do what you have already done. What is happening? Okay. Sorry, guys. So I'm going to open my terminal in section 7 and initialize npm init and then install express. right? npm init, yes to everything, and yes, inside it you see that yes, everything have been installed, and that our main app is main.index.js. But I don't need test. I'm going to change it to start. I'm not testing. I'm not writing any test. So I'm going to change all this echo and everything. I'm going to change it to Node. I'm using Node. I'm going to use Node and in index. Yes, just replace the test with start. It's Node, then index. You can use server.js. Some people use server.js, but whatever it is that you used, but whatever it is you use, it should be the file you create here. Yes. So whatever it is that you do, that is the file name you create here. Is that clear? So quickly, let's just log simple stuff out. Let's just log task 1. This is 1. Then task 1, task 2, and task 3. And if we run the npm start here, npm start, you see that yes, these 3 tasks, they are done synchronously. After task 1 finish, followed by task 2, then followed by task 3, in order at which they join their line. That is synchronous. That is what? Synchronous, yes. So then each line execute only after the previous one have completed, right? That's why you see them like that. Then in real life scenario, right, reading a large file synchronously blocks the main thread. Your program cannot cannot process any other request until the file operation finishes. For example, you are loading a 1 gig file so that you can use it to perform operations. Maybe you want to edit a video, and the video you have to first download it. You have to wait until the video is downloaded into your system before you can edit it, right? You don't have to, you cannot start editing when there is no video, right? So that is also a scenario for synchronous process. Every other thing have to wait until one task finish first. Is that clear? That's about that. So quickly, let's do this. We want to use that file system. We want to load the file into our this, and then we are going to create a file called data.txt inside our section 7. So quickly, let's create a file called data.txt. In our section 7, I'll right click text, a text file. Data.txt is an extension for text. Basically, you can write anything inside. Hello, I am a text. I don't know if that makes any sense, but we just want to have I'll just do that and close it. Anything you can just write into it, that's all. We're going to use file system to read it, right? You want to use what to read it? Exactly, we want to use file system to read it. And we are going to read it synchronously. We're going to read it what? That means every other thing have to wait until this process completes. That is synchronous way of reading a file. There is an asynchronous way of reading a file. There is synchronous way of reading a file. So we are going to read file sync. Means we're going to read the file synchronously. Quickly, let's do that. Inside our file system, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to const fs equal to require fs. That means I'm going to require the file system, right? Quickly, let's get it. Are we there? After importing, then quickly have to use that file system to read synchronously, and we are going to read it into a constant file called data, right? And what we are reading is data.txt, and we are going to use the UTF-8 encoding. There is encoding type. We have UTF-8 and more, but we are using the UTF-8 encoding type. So quickly, encoding, that's what you use to encode UTF-8. There are different encoding type, but the ones that we use here in our basic English, normal English, is UTF-8 encoding, right? That's our basic English alphabet, is UTF-8. That's what we want to read. So we want to create another variable called data. I'm hearing you. It's under server-side development with Node.js. Yes. So file system dot read file sync is a function that is under the file system. What is the file we want to read? It's in this folder called data.txt. And what is the encoding type? What type are we encoding? These are the different encoding type. We have ASCII, we have base 64, we have base 64 URL, binary, hex, but we are using UTF-8. We are using the UTF-8. Sorry, the one that doesn't have a minus, of course. And after everything, we log the data. So just like as we did the one we did, which was under, we log data. Then what did you say? Data.txt. That's what I want to read. Okay, I take it. Okay, what is it? We did for upload, we did for creating of server, we did for what again? Did a lot of stuff there. Now this one now we are learning synchronous and asynchronous programming in Node.js. And the main objective, all these plenty things, the thing that is most important is this sync, right? We are saying that we want to read this file synchronously. That is why I started with the objective, so you'll be guided. So after everything, we log that, okay, this operation was successful. File read successfully. Is that the spelling of successfully? Let me spell Ebing Paini. Abioti Rain. Then I'm going to open this with terminal. And I think section 7 was open already. Yeah, so I'm going to delete one. I'm going to do npm start to do this. Npm start. See, the thing waited for some time because the process is synchronous. It's paused. On the norms, my system is a very fast system. It have to wait sometimes, but it's have to pause for the thing to open the file, read through it, copy the data, put it inside this constant data before every other process can continue. That is what synchronous process. We good, right? So, like we said, synchronous process is just like, wait, let me finish before you come. People join in line and doing things. You want one have to finish before the next follows. That is what synchronous process. We're good, right? So that's why are you still asking this question by now? You start now. I mean, anytime you finish writing the code, it's npm start. That's what you do with the terminal. You understand, right? To start the program that you've run is what? Npm start. Then to install anything is npm install. Then followed by the package you want to install. No, nah. It starts. Then npm start. You see the process. So because of this synchronous keyword, everything run after the order. Is did you create this data.txt? You did not. Is it in the same folder? It should be. Eh? If you did not see it, then there is. Wait, okay, the question now is, did you write anything inside the text.txt? Okay, let me. Well, here, what's your question, machine? See, by machine, look at what we did. See, inside data.txt, we just wrote something. You can write. It's not a folder, it's a file. The txt text file, then you type anything inside. That is what we are reading. Because the server and the data are the same folder, that is why we could reference it with using. I hope you use these dots. Ben, use dot, right? Let me. That's it. You're good, right? Your own is. Let me check what's going on. Let me see. So we're good, right? That's how we read files synchronously. Wait, to in the case, for example, in the case this is what you are looking for. Thank you. In case what you are looking for is online and it has to take time, and whatever your program is doing depends until this file is loaded. This is where you use this synchronous process. We're good, right? Okay. Use up arrow now, arrow key, something you've done before, you can recall it. Then asynchronous programming, or asynchronous in the other hand, right? Let's define asynchronous. I think we know what is synchronous mean now? If I say what is synchronous process, what does it mean, Basit? Don't say me already now. Me and you go for here. See, synchronous process is just a process that things are actually happening sequentially, one at a time. You understand? One thing, it's like blocking, they call it, you can use it, the blocking process. One thing have to finish before the other follows. I don't know how you want to yes. Exactly. That's another one too. Sync. That one is sync. I think that one, does that concept. Wait, let me think of how that concept. Sync is actually. Yes, it's. I think it's sync. I know if they say are we in sync, I think that sync is are we in the same page? Something like. I think. Anyway, that's by the way. Sync. Okay. A synchronous process is a process. So if you enter toilet, if you are going to public toilet until somebody finish, that is. But on the other hand, asynchronous programming allows multiple operations to happen without waiting for each other to finish. Exactly. So it's directly opposite. If people, more than two people can be performing the same process at the same time, it doesn't note many ATMs. Exactly. Or I don't know, Sha. You just round one food like that. Family, I know, serve yourself. Serve yourself. Or this polygamy. I don't know if you are born in polygamous family where they will put some round big bowl in front and leave people. Anybody where chop fast na own. Na in go enjoy. Slow choppers. Nobody they nobody they wait for anybody. So that is kind of nobody they wait for anybody. But as all of you are feeding from this, eh, yes, that is another program for another time. This is because now this is what there is a scope for a class now. You understand? This is a scope. There is a scope for a class now. Imagine we have a scope and an objective of a class, and we start teaching another objective. That one was supposed to even come on Fridays, Saturdays, all those things. Those are the excesses. All those extra patches you come on Fridays to come and patch yourself up. So, so So without waiting for each other to finish, so task can start, continue in the background, and notify the program when they are done. Oh, I'm done. Me, I don't believe full, or this kind of a thing. That's about asynchronous programming. So analogy, it's like ordering food at a restaurant. You place your order and can do other things like chatting or checking your phone while waiting for your food. While you are waiting for your food at the Clove, you are doing other stuff. Why do we even need asynchronous programming anyway? So in Node.js is actually single-threaded. Single-threaded means it allows one thread. It's a concept in programming of multi-threading, making more than two processes. So JavaScript or Node.js is single-threaded, but use non-blocking input and output operation. Non-blocking means it mustn't be synchronous, right? So which allows it to handle many operations efficiently, especially useful for servers handling multiple requests. You are making requests to post to one server, another one is making get requests to the same server, another person is making put requests to that same server. Yes, that's asynchronous. At the same time, without waiting for any other person to finish first. That is asynchronous. Thank you. You get it? I like that. Well done. So especially useful in server side. That's about that. Then asynchronous programming models in Node.js. We have different asynchronous programming models. We have one, callbacks, we have two, promises, and we have three, async and await. And we are going to look through them one by one. What's the time now? It's almost 4. We have 45 minutes to go. Okay. Uh, you I just developed. No. You don't have it. Yes. So definition: callback is a function. Is Wahala. A callback. What is a callback? I would say callback is a function based. It's a function that is passed as an argument into another function, right? You remember when you were creating function, you used to pass in values. Like if you want to create a quadratic equation, you have to pass in the coefficient of x squared, the coefficient of x, and the constant term. If you want to create a function to calculate simple interest, you must pass in the principal, the rate, and the time. You understand? Those are values. But in your contrast, JavaScript allow you to pass function as a parameter into a function as an argument, right? So those functions that are passed into another function are called what? Callbacks. They are called what? Callbacks. So those are the function. Those are just like after effect. What happens after something have happened? So remember, function is an action word. Function makes things happen. They are just like if they say create a function, they mean create a functionality, right? So a function is made to process an information. So it's another process. It's not a data. It's not a standalone data. It's an instruction to process data. So when it is passed into another function, it is called a callback. And callback means after the major process, the main function have finished operating, you can do this callback. You understand, right? So anywhere you hear the word callback, a callback involves two functions. One, the main function, the other one, the one that is being passed in. And the one that is passed in is called the callback. Are we clear? So the syntax is like this. Fetch data is a main function. Then the callback is the after effect function that is passed in, which will be defined elsewhere, right? Means this fetch data is to have an after effect. I mean, when you define this fetch data, you said, okay, I'm going to later, anytime any person is calling this fetch data, that person must also pass in an after effect, a function to be performed immediately after this fetch data is done. That's what you are defining this function as. So first, we made a function called fetch data, and we say, okay, we explicitly said whenever any person wants to call this function, the person must pass in a function. And well, within this main function called fetch data, what we are doing, we are setting a timeout. That is a set timeout. Set timeouts. Remember set timeouts. It takes in two parameters, a callback and a time. A function set timeout takes in two parameters. Function that will be performed after a specific time. Are we good? That's about that. So we are going to do this, and after everything we make this, after this whole process, set timeout. After this, then we'll call the callback. Set timeout is an inbuilt function by JavaScript that takes in two parameters, a function to be performed after a specific millisecond of time, or a specified millisecond of time. So quickly, let's do this. Then later we'll call fetch data and pass in our callback. So quickly, let's define a function called, I'm going to take this all out, or I'm going to comment it. That, yes, we use it very well every time, every single time. Remember, don't get lost, we'll still come back there. Have three major models of asynchronous programming. We have the callbacks, we have the promises, and we have async and await. It's the callback that we are learning like this. So we should be able to learn how to use callback. Callback is a function that is passed into another function. You understand, right? Quickly, let's define a function called function. We're going to call it fetch. You can use anywhere in JavaScript. As far as JavaScript is concerned, your React is a JavaScript program. Your Next.js is a JavaScript program. Your Node.js backend is a JavaScript program. So, but mostly our objective is to really learn this concept so we can really know how to program at the server side properly. These are core concepts in JavaScript that JavaScript thrive on, and it's important you know it. Wait, you don't tire. So you can call the name of the callback. You can come after after fetch. You can call it anything. You can call it callback. You can call it anything. The name of the function. Well, this is going to use set timeout. Set timeout is as an inbuilt JavaScript function that takes in that takes in two parameters, a function to be called after a specified millisecond, and the function we are going to do is basically what we're doing. Actually, we are just logging data fetched, then call the after effect. I'm just going to log data fetched. Yes, after fetch, after you have fetch, you can call it any name. Then after that, you call the after fetch. Right. So what this means, after you have after you are done with this, make this call. We're done with that. Can move forward, right? It's just a string. You can put anything you want. We're good, right? So quickly, let's continue. So now we have actually made the callback, and now we have defined the function. The function takes in a callback. So how do we use it now? Using it, we definitely call the function, and moreover, it is a function we are passing into it. So remember, you are going to pass in a function. What type of function is this in JavaScript? You're not a baby in JavaScript again. We have different types of function. What types of function is this? Yeah, yes. The one I highlighted. What types of function is this? It's arrow function. It's arrow, not JSON. What? Who told you that JSON is a function? My God, or each other. So, all right. So quickly, let's call it. You can define it outside later. You can call it anything, but anyhow, the function is what it's to just be called. You can call the function outside. Maybe the function is my after fetch. Remember, you always start with the word function, right? You can start. You can do like this. My after fetch. You can call this anything, and basically, maybe this thing is whatever you do. Whatever you do, you just log, and it's just basic thing. I have been called, or after fetched. My after fetch function have been called. So this basically say, oh, you have called me. Just basically that, nothing more. And now we can properly use it inside our, can use it above anyway. Function does not, it's hoisted. So fetch data is required to take a function. What function are we passing it? It's my after fetch. And you're done. You can do this, and if you run it npm and you run this npm start, right? And you see data fetched. You see data fetched. My after fetch function have been called. So you can either use it with a well-defined function, or you can use an anonymous arrow function, like he's called it. Function is just a function, but so long as it's passed into another function, it's called a callback. That is the first model of asynchronous programming, right? Good, right? Like I said, you could either pass in a well-defined function, or you can choose to pass in an arrow function. Yeah. See what? Yes. This my after fetch. This fetch data is the main function. Then after fetch is the callback, and this is where we define this function called fetch data. We defined it and told it that it's going to take a function. You know, when you define a function, you tell what it's going to take now. Our own case here, we say it's going to take a callback, a function, and this is how we call the function that it takes, right? So we define the function that it's going to take by defining it here, and we called it here. Where did we call it? Here. But in this our own case now, we want to use another way called using arrow function anonymous, and be log and log and anonymous have been called. A new function we passed in, which is basically an arrow function. So you could either choose to pass in an arrow function, an anonymous function, or even a well-defined structured function. Or a well-defined function. And any function, so as far as it has been passed as an argument, it is now called what? A callback. Can even, yes, as far as a function can take more than one function as well, as far as it's defined to do that. Yeah? Yes, this is the one we defined to be putting inside here, to put here. Now, this question that you used to ask me every time that makes me wonder. Start is to start now. Now let's continue, right? So now let's move forward. Now the problem is if multiple asynchronous operations depends on each other. Like, you understand? Multiple asynchronous means if they depend on each other, callbacks can nest deeply. This is called callback hell. For example, after this happened, do another thing. After this happened, do another thing, which is very long, right? If they depend on each other, perhaps you might have, for example, now, after this, after fetch still depend on another call back too, and after everything we'll call back too. We'll call it. This callback too now depends on another one. So we have, that means this function here that we passed, let me call this instance after my what it just did now is, and this one is going to still depend on another function called maybe, so this is the callback here we are talking about. The function depends on another function, this is hell. That's JavaScript becomes tiring with this. That is where other models can be explored, right? Quickly. So for example, get user depends on get posts. No, so first, before you get a post, after you get user, then you get the post. After you get the post, you get the comment. You understand? This is a very long process. You see how nested it is, right? This is called back hell. This is what hell, yeah. So that is why other models for handling asynchronous. So you know that after you get, before you can get to comment, you have to get a post. Before you can get a post, you have to get the user. You understand who made that post? You understand? If I want to search for your post, I'll go to your account first. Go to your post. Then maybe the comment that I made that I say it's not wrong, I should go and delete it. Then before I go to that comment. That is interdependent. If all of them were to be depending on each other as a function, we enter into the callback hell. which we don't want to go. So that is where we come to the case of promises. It's another, is the second model. What's the time now? Quickly, let's explore this. So the promise is an object that represents a value which may be available now, later, or never. Takes in it's an object contains, we are expecting three value. Number one, it's available now, later, or never. So it simplifies handling a synchronous operation instead of calling long interdependent callbacks like that. So, and the state of a promise could be pending, fulfilled, or rejected. You make a call to go and fetch something. Maybe because of the server error, it is rejected. Or because everything is okay, it's fulfilled. Or maybe because the network is very slow, it's pending. So these are the three states. Is it getting boring? It's not they worry you like this. Now the AC should be off AC. So, sorry, the class is getting boring. It's expected anyways. This is one of the hardest concepts. If you are even given a quiz in like Turing, or these are what comes out most of the times. And this is what differentiates someone, a developer, a core developer, from someone who really understands it. Just the peripheral, just to make things work, right? Please. Then, in our own case, we have to redefine our fetch data using the promise scenario. A promise is an inbuilt object that has been created. It's class. So anytime you start with the keyword new, anytime you want to create, so fetch data, instead of a basic function that it's going to, you know, that fetch data is going to be a function that fetches data. But now you are going to create an object of promise which takes two parameters, resolve or rejected, right? Then return this const true success. That is after the whole thing, it sets success to become true. Then if it is success, you resolve with data fetched, or reject with error fetching data. So in the case something happened, you are handling both error and success cases at the same time. Is that clear? A synchronous process can happen, something that you make a call, it can bring success or failure. You want to read the file, because the file does not exist, it can read failure. Would read success because the file is there and the syntax is clean and everywhere is okay, the whole environment is set. But there are some cases it will be rejected, and when they are rejected, you need to handle them very properly. So this is where we create the new promise instance. So quickly, let's get to the promise instance and create a new server. I'm going to comment this old one that we did, of course. Comment this. I've done some. In it, we are going to pass in a set timeout. Set timeout is what we are using to set timeout. So actually, we are using to set timeout to actually fake a real IO operation. Basically, it's fake. So we're going to call that. Then in set timeout, we're going to pass in a function. Function is just basically going to log something out after some times. The function, the first with const create initialize something called success to be equal to true. Initially, true is a value, it's a primitive value in JavaScript, like we all know. Then after that, then in the case if it's success, is it success? If that, then we resolve with this and set data fetched successfully, else we reject.